Welcome to the NPTE Final Frontier podcast, helping one student at a time. Visit npteff.com to enroll today so you can pass tomorrow. Thank you for joining us here on the NPTE Final Frontier podcast. My name is David.
And my name is Emily. Today, we are breaking down how brain lesions affect movement patterns. So I'm going to hand it over to David to kick it off with a question.
All right, here is the question. A patient presents with resting tremor, bradykinesia, and rigidity. Which structure is most likely affected? Is it A, cerebellum? Option B, basal ganglia? Option C, brainstem? Or is it option D, somatosensory cortex?
All right, let's start off with breaking down each option choice. Starting off with option A, the cerebellum. Now, what does the cerebellum control? Yep, the cerebellum controls coordination, precision, and timing of movement. Now, when the cerebellum is damaged, you will see things like a tremor. What type of tremor? That would be an intention tremor. Now remember, that's a tremor that appears during movement, not at rest. You might also see things like dysmetria, which is difficulty judging distance, dysdiadokinesia, which is difficulty with rapid alternating movements, and some balance problems. But this question says resting tremor and bradykinesia. So that does not fit the description of cerebellum because remember, we would see an intention tremor here. So we can cross off option A. And next up, we have option B, the basal ganglia. Now, this one's responsible for what? Our basal ganglia is responsible for initiating and regulating movement. Now, when the basal ganglia is affected in things like Parkinson's disease, you'll see things like resting tremor, rigidity, and slowed movements. Slowed movements is also referred to as bradykinesia. So the correct answer here is basal ganglia because notice we had that resting tremor as well as that slowed movement or bradykinesia. So we like option B, we like basal ganglia, but let's look at C and D first. Option C is brainstem. Now a brainstem lesion will impact vital functions. Vital functions are things like breathing, heart rate, or alertness. Now, that's not what's happening in this case, so we can cross off option C. And then finally, option D, our somatosensory cortex. Now, this part of the brain processes what? Sensory information. You'd see changes in light touch, proprioception, or even pain, but we wouldn't really notice tremors or rigidity. So we can also cross off option D, confirming that option B, our basal ganglia, is in fact the correct answer choice for this question. Great job.
So now let's summarize this in plain language, because this is where it's going to help out, because let's face it, I know you want the plain language. If the cerebellum is involved, you'll see problems with coordination and timing. Think of someone who's trying to touch their nose and then they miss it. That's ataxia or dysmetria. They may have an intention tremor that appears when they move as well. If the basal ganglia is involved, then you're going to see some problems that are involving starting and controlling movement. That's bradykinesia or slowness, rigidity, and resting tremor. That's present even when the person isn't moving. Classic example would be something like Parkinson's disease. If the cortex is involved, especially the motor or sensory areas, you'll see a loss of voluntary movement or sensation, depending on the side of the lesion. And if it's the brainstem, think vital signs, changes in consciousness, cranial nerve involvement, or autonomic control.
All right, so for one final wrap up, here are the key takeaways of everything David and I have mentioned. So if we see a tremor that's happening at rest, it is a problem with which area? The basal ganglia. And if we see a tremor with movement, think cerebellar. Remember, that's an intention tremor. So our cerebellum, problems with smoothness and precision, problems with our basal ganglia, we'll start to see some difficulties with starting or initiating movement, as well as the speed of movement. Remember, both deal with movement, but one is more with accuracy, and the other one is all about initiation.
All right, now that you heard this episode, here is a quote from Thomas Edison. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Do not give up. You are so close to achieving your dream and you may not even know it. Keep on fighting for it. Keep on taking the steps and keep on moving forward. You are powerful. You are strong. You are a final frontier warrior. You will pass.
Thank you very much for listening. For more information on NPTE Final Frontier, please visit npteff.com. You can also check out all of our social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok.
Till next time, have a great day and a powerful tomorrow. Thank you once again.